Said that, we've been able to actually explain what we did. So first of all, we organized our class, our UI, structured the folders of our project by taking the API into this place, right? And then we have this model. So we're going to update this model class now because this is not the kind of response that we want to be able to display on the app. So if you check here, this is not exactly what we want. We have a list of objects, but we want a grouped list of objects. We want something that's grouped this way. So we're going to need a new class that we're going to use that for. So and this class is going to just be a new class that wraps this particular list with a title this time around. So that is how we are going to be able to represent the new type of structure that we're going to get. So I'm going to paste out just a short class. This class just have group staff with a string role and then list of staff. This is just the staff here, right? So it's just the title and then list of the staff that we want to display, right? So if you go back to the response that I showed you before, so we are looking for something that will have the title, all right, which is the role that we gave it role right now, and then the list of the staffs, right? So that's just what we're actually looking out for, and that's what this is going to do for us. So having done that, we need to first now go to our API and restructure the API. So for us to restructure this API, we need extra helper function. This function is going to do the major job that we want to do, right? So how do we do that? We are probably going to store this information now in a variable. So I'm just going to call this final result equals to this, all right? So we're not returning this up front. So because we're going to probably change this at the end of the day, all right? Now, we need to make a new static method. This particular method now is going to be a list because it's going to return a list of grouped staff, which is the staff that we showed you here because we have multiple staffs and groups, all right? So the group of staffs, because it's not just one staff, so we have maybe people that are designated with teachers, then people that have maybe admin and stuff like that. So just a multiple list of them, all right? And I'm going to call this grouped is going to take this particular one that we actually have here. So we're going to take this guy and then we should be able to now convert that to a list. All right, so that's what we need, and then we need to now change this guy because what we're sending out back now to our UI is just going to be a grouped object, right? A grouped list of these grouped staffs. So how do we do that? We need to take this guy, this list of staff, and then we need to pass it to the future of this place. It's going to break some things, but that's okay. I'm going to put it here. All right. So then we're going to call this guy up front. So we're going to now return here. Return group staff because group staff is going to return group of list, which is why we made this guy. So let's do group staff and it takes result, and the result is already a. So this being done, our function still remains the same name, right? But let's now do the major work. The work we're actually trying to solve in this very tutorial is being done here. So here we will take the current response and structure it as we want. Then return it for display. Okay, that's enough. So how do we do that? First of all, we need to get a new type of list from the current list that we have. So I'm going to do a final grouped. I'll just call it grouped, and I'm going to reference this particular one that we have So PHIXLAB stuff, and going to call dot staff, which is a list of staff, dot group by. I need to import something first before that can work. So group by list. All right, and it's going to take an element, which, and we are doing that by element dot row. So let's import this guy. Import package collection. Okay, so we have that. So let's go again and try to import this guy. So let me make this nullable. Yeah, this takes time sometime. I don't know why that happened, but let's just remove this. Sometimes it just takes too much time to import. I don't know why that's happening. Okay, don't worry. I'm going to probably reload the project, but now let's just go ahead. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to I'm taking the list inside, which is a list of stuff that is inside this object, right? And I'm grouping it by list, and I'm going to get an element. And what type? How do I want to group it? I want to group it by the elements row, all right? Because if you check in our response here, we have row. There's a role field in the staff object, right? So what we're doing is to group it by. So it's going to create a new list, but now it's going to be a map actually, which is like a key value stuff. The key is going to be the role, and then it's going to have a sub list of all the people that fall within that particular group. So it's going to take this list and reorganize it, and then return to us something that's going to be having a title and then the list that we want. So that's basically what we're trying to do here. So this is just the major pain point of all the things we're trying to do. Don't worry about this import that's giving error. We're going to refresh this and we should be able to have this resolved. Now let's continue. All right, so the next thing we do is to, I'm going to return. So what do I want to return now? I'm going to return grouped dot entries. This is not resolving because first of all, we need to find a way to resolve this. All right, so let me resolve that. Group list, and the type of group list by, and this is list. All right, sorry. Okay, so that's been resolved now. So I was interpreting this very group list by, and then let's go ahead and return grouped. So if you check the type of group is a map of string and a list of stuff, right? So the key is string, which represents now the role or the title that we're going to display, and then the list of it, all right? And it's going to return the list of group stuffs for us. So I'm just going to do grouped, and I'm going to do entries. So in the entries, we are going to then map through, I'm going to call this raw stuff, and we are going to now return the object that we created the last time. That's the last class we created, group staff now. And group staff is just going to take the role is raw staff, raw staff, raw staff dot key. All right, so we need to, and then raw staff here dot value. And we need to now make it to list. So let's find out why we're having the error. So we should make this nullable. Why would that happen? Nullable, stuff. That's the key. Alright guys, so this is just the pain point. This is just the whole thing that we're actually trying to solve in this place. So we have a group of lists. We are listing this particular group. We are creating our list by using this particular very powerful helper method. Alright, that it takes the particular stuff we're trying to group, which is this list, and then we group it by the particular key that we want, which we are using the row now to group it. So at the end of the day, we are now running through the entries, and then we are mapping everything to this guy and converting it to list. So at the end of the day, we're going to get back a list, which is what we're going to return to this place. Now, first of all, we're making this guy nullable because we are actually return something that is also nullable from this very list. So that's why we're trying to enforce nullability. Yeah, in your case, you might not encounter that, but if you encounter that, just make sure that you're actually using nullability. Is just because this response is going to be nullable. Since we have a nullable return from here, this guy should also be nullable as well. That's why the list of group staff, which is list of group staff, should be nullable in our response here. All right. Okay. So that being said, we basically done with this part. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how we can actually reflect that with what we have in the front end, because you can see that we already having error here. So we are going to update that in the next video. So we need to continue in the flow. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take this guy, this particular screen, to a new class or a new UI. So I'm going to remove it from here. We need to have a screen folder package here. So we're going to do screen. So inside that, I'm going to create a staff list screen. Staff list screen. And I'm just going to grab this class from here all the way down. So cut it, and we take it to our new, and paste it here, and do the necessary imports. Import package Flutter tutorial. And then let's import PHIXLAB stuff. We're going to be changing this too, so we might not be needing this again, right? Because we need a new type of data. So let's go ahead and add that. So we need now a list of grouped stuff. Sorry. Grouped stuff. I'm going to call it stuffs. And stuff is actually plural that way. So let's import the grouped stuff. Now we need to make this. Okay, this is already a stateful widget. So this is going to be a list of stuff. So let's initialize it an empty list like this. And I'm going to remove this guy because we already have that defined, so we don't need this. It's going to throw some errors, no problems. So let's do a quick function here. So this function is just, we're going to use it to actually update our UI. So for it, update screen, it's going to be asynchronous. And inside there is where we're going to now make our call. All right, so we're going to have a variable to store the results that we pull, and let's call it group stuff. All right, and we're going to do await API client of PHIXLAB API dot fetch stuff. All right, so once it fetches the stuff, we need to update this list that we have here. So I'm going to do process state here, and I'm going to call stuff equal to with stuff. Okay, we're making that nullable because the response we're getting from the fetch is a nullable type, right? So that's why we're doing that. Okay, that being done, let's do a small print here. So if kdebug and I just print start.first roll. Okay, so that being done, we just need to call that function in this place, so we don't need all these ones anymore. So inside here, we're going to do await update on this screen. All right, let's just take that this for it. All right, guys, so that's this for now. So what we did was we were able to, in API, we were able to group our responses by, first of all, taking the original response, grouping it by list, and then we are mapping through that and creating a new object. Remember, the original object we got was, we were getting the original object of PHIXLAB stuff, but we need to map it to a new class, which is this, and then we return that inside from our fetch stuff. So once that has happened, we can now probably send that and make the request on start of this particular screen. So that being done, we are going to continue in the next video to render our UI. So first of all, let's see if we can run the app now and see how this looks. So I have an old instance still running there, but that's not what you need. So let's see how that happens. You're not supposed to see anything now, you're just supposed to see a console log that has this first row if everything worked correctly. But it seems there's somewhere an error somewhere. Don't know what that is. Right, so let's see this. Interesting. So let me run that again. 1 minute. Let's see how that goes right now. Seems it's taking a while. Okay, well, since we have some analysis issue, let's see what that is. Oh yeah, sorry. We need to import the news class here. That's what's stopping this from running. Then let's clean up these imports. These unused imports. Services is no longer needed here. Convert is no longer needed. Alright, so then let's do that again. So if you look now, you see that we've been able to clean up this particular screen to just have a list of stuff, and everything has been organized into different places. So we have the screen folder, and then we also have the widget folder. This is the best way you should actually work on your normal project. The model lives here, which is the data that actually maps to our API. All right. So if depending on the architecture you are using, we're not using any specific architecture here. So if you're using something like maybe clean architecture, all right, so you should probably have some DTOs and have other folders with the way you group your project. But that depends on how complex the project you're working on is. But for this tutorial, we're just doing just the basic organization of our codes. All right, so we have here data, we have API. Yeah, in most cases you have data because that's where the data is coming from. So if it's coming from the database, we should have maybe database or something like that. But we are assuming that this is coming from the API response, and that's why we're actually doing this. So this is not totally the best approach, but the key thing is just for you to understand the problem that we're trying to solve, which was done in the API itself, right? Here, we pulled our data from the API, and then we were able to get something very friendly that we want to display, and we've actually finished most of the job. The next job we're going to be doing is pretty simpler one, just for us to see that the app runs, and once the app runs, then we can go ahead and display the data in the screen. the only proof of what we've done. So I'm going to show you when it's running.